Oh, it uses SIM. So that's the connectivity with the network.
With the network.
So who gives you the SIM? The network gives you the SIM.
Well, the disco.
That's what I'm saying. In disco, that means by network. The
The
utility company gives you this.
So we now forgot it. So each customer is
Just like a telephone number allotment.
But if you don't want to use this GPRS, because this is a GPRS model, some of them will say, okay, we want the radio frequency, but they will have to pay the communication company
For that carrier.
for that carrier.
There lies the opportunities. As it stands today, there are less than 5 people in this ecosystem for a market this huge. But so far, the milestone covered speaks volume to the Nigerian spirit, the spirit of resilience, the spirit of commerce, the tenacity to win against all odds. This is the story of young Nigerian entrepreneurs in this courtyard.
The opportunity in the power sector is enormous. They are so enormous. But what makes a difference is an ability to think outside the box. You must be able to think of in some creativity, something that has never been done, or something that have never been ventured into. Opportunity in power sector is still very large that will encourage so many people to come into it. In fact, we've not started tapping all the opportunity in the power sector, because if you look at our population today, 170 million people with less than 6,000 megawatts of electricity. No, the gap is huge. It means we need a lot of infrastructure. We need a lot of cabling. We need a lot of transformer. We need a lot of meters. And it's a continuous process. So I will urge so many people who are fast-thinking people that is the place to go, because we are just starting.
From the ecosystem comes an average production capacity of 50,000 meters monthly, despite all odds of currency fluctuations, odds of patronage, odds of material sourcing, and more.
My goal as a manufacturer is to produce as much of my manufacturing inputs locally here in Nigeria, so that we go as far as producing the chips and the PCB, which is the brain of the meter, and all other components that are required. There's nothing that stops us from producing the batteries that we need, the relays that we need, the capacitors that we need. It's sad to say that we don't even have factories that produce those things here in Nigeria. I'm hoping to get the support of the government, both at CBN level and finance institutions, to be able to produce these components and inputs here in Nigeria.
Most of the parts that we use for the meters, we have some locally that we procure locally, and there are some that we actually import. There are some that you can't actually get anybody to produce it in Nigeria. Like the meter box, it is produced locally. The screws, some of them, not all, are produced locally, and some of the components on the meter itself that you procure locally. But when it comes to the sensitive part of it, like the MCU, the resistors and the capacitors, the relays and everything, these are things that we import.
It started with identifying a need area. Today, the army of employed Nigeria in that sector is ever growing.
The journey has been challenging, but it has been inspiring. I will tell you, inspiring in the sense that it's a new technology and there's room for us to grow. And when we started this kind of business, that is the procurement meter, initially people were against it. But at a point in time, people began to understand the usefulness, the importance of it, and the advantage to consumers. And now you can see virtually every home or every consumer that you see around, they clamor for procurement meters. So, and this alone give you a kind of inspiration that you still have a job to do, and you still have a lot to put into this field. And the procurement industry, the procurement meter industry, is so large that a company cannot supply the whole numbers of meters that this nation needs. And the good thing about it is that the meters initially were being imported, but now we have a Nigerian company. We have Nigerian companies that are into the manufacturing of prepayment meters. And this will go a long way to create employment. Aside from the employment side, it will go a long way to lead us to something else. Like, take for instance, it is an electronics world. And the core of every meter is the software. So it gives room for the IT side of it to develop applications and the rest on how to generate revenue. On the other side, on the electronic side, it gives room for you to invent, learn, invent, and perhaps develop your own local application that will suit your own climate and your own environment, because knowing fully well that Nigeria electricity supply is a different thing entirely, the surge and the rest. So it gives us room for us to develop the application that will suit our own climate, and eventually one of our vision is to exploit the region, so that at least we can, as well, as time goes on, we can develop our own kind of meters in Africa that we can, at least from Nigeria, we can export more.
From the years past, we have had generation of meters which were indicative of the time. But owing to network upgrade and efficiency, which is expected of a private-driven entity, distribution companies are compelled to go smart in terms of meters.
For the first time, I actually colored the meter to look like Nigerian flag. And that's the reason why I make it green, white, green. But however, there is no any color I cannot make any meter to look like. This is transparent. The transparent is so that you'll be able to see all the wire when it's connected or when it's being tampered with. But I can color meter anyhow. If I open inside, you will see the intelligence, you see the board, how we design and every other thing. And this meter as it is an intelligent meter. You can relate with it through your phone.
Indeed, it means that every household will have to migrate to smart meters from those now obsolete gadgets that can effectively measure consumption real-time, on-time, and automation in billing and collection. That is the niche arena, the very turf that has created a new electricity solution providers domiciled here in Nigeria, a community of smart meter producers, meters that can interact remotely. Yes, meters that can allow you recharge your bills without seeing a personnel, meters that can allow you monitor consumption both at the service provider's end and the consumer's domain. Meters designed by Nigerians, in Nigeria, and for Nigeria.
You see, the greatest achievement I have made for the country is for us to be proudly says we now design and produce from A to Z Nigerian homes made by Nigerians for Nigeria for the purpose of Nigeria, and that can compete favorably with international markets. So I feel fulfilled and I feel achieved already, even if I didn't do anything else other than that meter that I've produced for the country. So it's a big success story, and it's something Nigeria can be proud of. We need to embrace our brand, purely Nigeria.
For whatever it is worth right now, a Nigerian solution exists in country, and these guys are helping to bridge the metering gap across the country. Proudly Nigerian, proudly a Nigeria story. What we hear is that some of these meters are now being exported to some African countries because it's being built with the tropics in mind. The market projections are in the green zone. Perhaps with a little more deliberate attention to that ecosystem, the deficits and the metering gap can well be bridged with a tailor-made solution fit for purpose. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back same time, same station next week. You want to keep a date with us? Bye for now.